Good morning, everyone. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to start our walk cycles for our animation projects. Today, we are just going to work with stick figures for our cycle walk. We're not going to do our characters just yet, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to build our stick figures first. And then after we build our stick figures, that is going to transform into our characters later on because we can overlay these walk cycles in order to figure out how your character should look like as they're walking. So to start the project, what I did is I opened up a blank canvas in Pixlr. So I went to Create New. I made sure I clicked the little black background toggle so it would be a white background. And then I came in here and I added a blank layer. So I hit the little plus sign and I hit the blank layer, which is over here. When you, this is a little new addition for Pixlr. If you just hold over and then go over to this, you don't actually have to hit the plus sign. You can just hover over it and move over. So do the little plus sign for an empty box, for an empty frame rather, and then, or empty slide. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit the shape tool here. You're gonna switch it to the line tool. And sorry, my colors are off here, so I'm gonna switch that real quick. Then what you're going to do is switch it to the right color, because again, I started off on the wrong one. After that, notice that for some reason, my outline is listed as 0. I'm going to put that as 5. And what that'll do is it'll allow me to put a black line like this. You can see if I did that again, you can see how I have that. Now, actually, the first line, I apologize. I did not do 5 on this line. I did 15, I believe. I wanted a nice thick line. So yeah, there you go. 15 was the amount. Okay, so then after I did that, I added another blank layer. When I did this blank layer, what I did is I created the height of my character. So this guy right here, this is going to be your height. Okay, and sorry, I'm trying to write, and it's a little bit easier to write cursive when you're doing this, so my apologies. But you can see that it faded out even though I was using black. The reason why is after I created my lines, I dropped the transparency down real low because I don't need it to be seen really easily because it's just as a guideline. This guy here is going to be our waist. Not waist as in garbage, but our waist as in our hips. All right. So after we make our height and our waist levels, what we're going to do is we then are going to create another blank layer. This time I'll actually do that. Let me pull this down so it's in the correct order. With this blank layer, what I'm going to do is I am going to take my brush and I am going to make my brush a super hard brush because I want it perfectly circular. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this softness of 1% and I'm going to make it 0%. You can see that's a rather nice size brush. That's going to be actually the size of our head here. Try to get in the middle as best as you can. If you're not perfect, that's fine. But what I'm going to do is just right where that circle just reaches the top, or I'm sorry, the bottom of that height line, that is where I'm going to click. As I said, we're going to create stick figures for this. So what I'm going to do is after I make my head, I'm going to cut the size of my my line down to 50 because let's face it, your head's a lot bigger than your body in stick figures usually. So what I'm going to do is you can leave a little space and make a neck, but I chose not to do a neck because I didn't want it to be too complicated. So I made a line for my body. Okay. Now notice that it's not perfectly straight up and down. That's okay. A nice little curvature is okay because you have a little curvature in your spine. Now this is where I paused. We are going to have to create what's known as a contact and a passing pose. So with our contact and passing pose, basically the contact is where your foot hits the ground. So like as you're like walking and your front foot is hitting the ground, that is called the contact pose. So your back leg is a little beyond your body, a little slightly bent, and your front leg is almost perfectly straight out, and the heel is contacting the ground. It will look like this. So basically, what happens is your leg that's extending out, the heel is going to touch the ground. And the leg that is extending back, you'll notice that there is a bend to it. And basically, it's kind of like the tip of your toe there. And then your arms are going to be, notice that there's a little bit of an opposite. Your front right, or your front side. So the side that the viewer sees, that's what I mean by front here. That in this case, it's my right side. That leg is going to be back as the right arm is forward. So that's the front side that the viewer sees. You'll notice that they are opposites. The same thing for the left side of the body, which is the back side of the body in our view currently right now. They are also opposites. This arm's back, this leg's forward, okay? When we do the passing is basically where your leg that was toward the back of your body, meaning behind you, where that leg starts to pass this one. So we really actually are focusing primarily on the knee. So the kneecap is passing this leg. So this is what a passing pose would look like. Notice that the arms and the legs are a little bit tighter to the body. There isn't as much of a difference between the two. This leg is pretty much straight. This leg here is at a bend, and notice too, this foot is flat-footed, and this one is actually vertical. And then same thing for the arms. We got this arm going back, and this one's going forward. This is back, this is forward. This is back, this is forward, okay? So very similar to the contact in the sense that they're opposites, but in this case, we are now bringing that other leg forward as the other one's going back. So let's talk again specifically how to create this. The nice thing is, and I'm going to suggest, because we're going to be using this pose a few times. We're going to be creating a number of different poses besides for contact and passing. What you're going to do is you're going to make a copy of this to start with. This first original one, I'm going to highly suggest you to name it body, so you don't have to draw this one again. And actually, before we make a copy, I'm going to, or you know what, you don't need to do that, so never mind. This one here, I'm going to rename this guy contact. And then I'm going to duplicate that. And I'm going to name the new one passing. All right, so let's hide those and hide the body. Don't, it's kind of funny. Hide the body one. Do not get rid of it, because you're going to need it in a project further on or later on. So the contact pose. Again, we want to grab our brush. We don't want 50 because our legs and arms are definitely not as wide as our body. So we are going to come down to 30, again, dropping that soft off. I like to draw the extended leg first. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come to the back side of this hip, so the left-hand side, and I'm going to cross over. And basically then as it's about to hit the ground, that's where I draw my foot. And then for the other one, I'm going to grab this side of the hip, and I'm going to come down, extend back, and then tippy toe to the ground. Now, I'm going to do the opposite this time, because this hip is the one that came back, means that I need to start for this one here to come this way and then out. You can draw a little dot for the hand if you want. And then again, this one, this time it is going to, my apologies, I actually got that backwards. Oh, how I did that. But this one here, because it's that side, this one, we're going to start this side this time and then extend up. My apologies. And then this guy, it's going to be back and down. There's our stick figure. Maybe not that big of a hand. You want to be able to do stuff. You want to keep it as simple as possible this time around, because you want it as easily replicated as possible. So I like filling in the gaps a little bit, and do not make them thicker because you want to make sure that it's going to look the same from pose to pose. Okay. Now you're passing. Again, you're passing this time around. You got one leg that I like to do the extending leg. Oop, I made the fatal mistake. I need to make sure I switch my layers. It's easiest to, well, first we got to actually take a look back at this one. So the left hip here extended out, and that was that foot. So this time around, that left hip is going to extend straight down and out. And then this hip is going to be this way, back, down. Notice how now this one is at a vertical and this one's at a horizontal, okay? Versus these, this is like a 45-degree angle and this is a 45-degree angle. Now, the arms, less drastic, just like the legs are less drastic this time. So this right hip here, or I'm sorry, let's actually refer back to this one, make it a little easier again. The right-hand side, this time that is starting to come back. So we would start on the right-hand side and come like this, and then back at an angle. So we're gonna go here, boom, oop, sorry, my mouse is going crazy. So we want to extend it back, then down, and then this is going to extend out. All right, sorry, 1 second. There we go. So we're going to go here actually, and then down, and then this one, it would be extending down and then this way. So it's kind of like the body is hiding a lot of that one. So this case, we would have this hip is coming down and forward. This arm is coming back. So then this way, we're sticking with the opposites. Now you'll notice that I haven't drawn anything other than this. The reason why is because basically what's going to happen is because we have these passing in contact. What we'll do is we'll add those highlights like I did in these. We'll add little lines extra in order to show what's forward and what's back. And the reason why we will wait for this is because we're going to wind up in the next assignment. We're going to duplicate our passing in contact. We'll spread them out a little bit. And then what you'll do is you'll do something that is a little closer to doing this, where we have them actually looking like they're walking. Actually, I don't have that set up, sorry. But it will have it where we have more than one pose in a row. And then this way we can see the progression, and then we can stack them back on top of one another in order to create the walking scenario. So the nice thing is when we are done absolutely everything, what's going to happen is we are going to wind up putting these into our Kapwing program, and we are going to create a little video essentially of what this is going to look like. So I hope you enjoyed the little quick lesson for today. This is not complicated, but if you have questions about it, please let me know. I'll gladly go over all of this, and then we'll move on to the next stage tomorrow. Enjoy.